Hi, this is Dan here. I hope you're doing really well. That was something I just made up, and in this lesson I just want to take you through some of the thought processes behind how I was making that groove up and what I was practicing whilst I was playing along to that drum beat, because I think you'll get something from this. So first of all, you can download that drum beat, by the way, to practice along. It's at 115 beats per minute, and this was the line I came up with. So it was kind of arbitrary, but I chose D. So the 10th fret of the E string is D. And the key I chose, because this is sort of a funky thing, is Dorian, just because that's a good mode, it's a good sound, it's a good collection of notes for funk. And it's just the second mode of the C major scale. It's just D to D with no sharps, no flats. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. And that's extending it further in this particular shape I'm in. It goes without saying that if you're, improvising, coming up with fills and solos, or even a bass line, you really need to know the notes absolutely off by heart. So I know these notes, and I'm practicing this as I'm going. The actual bass line is a bit simpler. It comes from the D minor pentatonic scale, which you can get from that Dorian. You probably know that shape. So all I was doing was this, starting on a D, and I was doing a hammer-on from fret 10 to 12 on the A string before playing or plucking the 10th fret of the D string. And I was adding a little bit of that in, a little slap down when I was playing, when I was plucking. And then the hammer-on again from 10 to 12 on the A string. 2 Fs on the 10th fret of the G string before a D on the 12th fret of the D string. So that's how I made up the bass line, you know. If you just learn to play a minor pentatonic scale and you just use some interesting techniques and rhythms, you know, hammer-ons, short notes. I didn't say that, but those two notes there are very short. So as soon as you pluck, you release pressure to make the note short. That's really important. The notes themselves are very, very simple notes. I'm also kind of keeping my first finger roughly around the 10th fret of the E string, the D. I'm even playing that the F on the 10th fret of the G string, like on that second crease there. That's designed just to not have to move too much. If I just play along to the drums. If I'm playing along to something like that, I didn't do it there, but I would play it much longer to relax into the groove. So for me, I was finding a tendency to, especially those two notes at the top, to rush them. So part of my practice here is just to come up with something and be creative, but also to play along to this drum beat in order to work on my timing and my groove. So it's 115 beats per minute, tapping my foot that speed. There are 16th notes in there, so I must be subdividing every beat into, 4 further beats to the 16th notes. So you can go 1E and a 2E and a 3E, but it's essential that I do that. That's how I'm going to get those notes in time, because I've got a grid, I've got a reference. So that's what I'm practicing as well, doing this. Technique-wise, making sure that I've got a bit of a jump going there when I'm skipping strings. And things like that, fills, all I did there. I'm using hammer-ons, that's when you pluck, and you hammer a finger down to get a note. And since I've got, the 3 strings with the same notes on the same frets, rather, I can easily hammer on and also pull-offs, which I find more difficult than hammer-ons. So that's something I would maybe focus in on. All that sort of legato playing. Legato means smooth in Italian, and when you use hammer-ons and pull-offs in that way, it sounds smooth. When I get to there, you can just slide down. Now this is as opposed to plucking everything. You get a different feel. So that's one thing I'm practicing, and you can do too. Along to this kind of idea is to add expressive techniques, you know, hammer-ons, pull-offs, bends, slides, vibrato into your playing. So there. It'll pull off from fret 10 to 9. And then 12 to 10 on the D string. I'm making this up as I go. And then same on the A string, 12 to 10. A little slide down to fret 8. And I'm directly in position now to play fret 10 and 8 on the E string. And there I'm just doing similar idea, just with the notes of D Dorian. Here I'm starting it with my second finger and use this sort of extended fingering, which is where you know, one finger per fret, where you've got, like, for example, first finger on fret 9 and the others line up like this. Here I'm just stretching out. It's called extended fingering, and I can get 3 notes per string. And then when you get 3 notes per string like that, if you're, you know, sort of new to this, then make sure you know how to play one finger per fret before you get into this. Is a little bit of a stretch, but keep your wrist nice and straight, and it's not too bad. But things like that are easier. You know, hammer-ons, pull-offs, really fast legato playing when you've got 3 notes per string. Another thing I was practicing. I also played it using some slap. Now with slap, you can actually get into the 16th notes a bit more. I'm going like 8ths here. You've got this underlying 16th note feel. You could do the same with the plectrum, where you're doing that. That's a little bit more than with fingers that you don't really get that. I mean, you could add loads of ghost notes, but it doesn't make sense. So when I was playing with the slap technique there, I was investigating a little bit of that sort of feel. So there, I was just playing and I found something. And you didn't see this because this happened just before I pressed record. I was just playing with this and it just wasn't going very well. I was stumbling over that. So I put the backing track on, or just the drum beat, and just try and play around it a few times. So that's one thing about practice, is to isolate bits that you can't do and practice those bits, not the bits that you can do. So there, I probably won't be able to remember it. I'll show you it. So we got a little slide from 10 to 9 on the G string. That's what I did. And then after that, a little pull off, and those, I find pull offs quite difficult. 12 to 10 on the D. It was something like that. After the little pull off, another pull off, 12 to 10 on the A string. See how my finger stays there? Little rolling technique. Going back to the 10th fret of the D string, and then back to the 10th to the 12th of the A string. That's how I might practice it without the drum beat, just really slowly. So I just thought that you might be interested in that. Just coming up with a bass line by starting off with a key, in this case D Dorian / D minor pentatonic. Notice I didn't head anywhere up to this. That was just like little hammer on from 15 to 17. That's like the minor seventh to the root. That's the flat third. I know the intervals. That's fret 15 of the D string. That's the minor seventh. That's fret 17 of the G string. One fret down is the major sixth. So I really know the intervals, and I suggest you learn intervals that are underneath any scale or chord, you know? But when I was practicing, I was just sort of like deliberately sort of, you know, in this part of the neck, studying that, seeing what I can find from that. So there's some ideas for you. I'll write down the scale so that you can learn that pattern. I'll write down the bass line, and I'll put the drum beat there so you can play along with that. If you did get something from this video, please like and share it, and subscribe to the channel. That really helps me grow things. I'm trying to do at least 2 videos a week on these kind of things, loads of different subjects related to bass. If you've got any questions or ideas, let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.